Our movie begins with a group of gunmen injured in a firefight at a shopping center in central England. More than 80,000 citizens have fled their homes in fear. To understand how this happened, we go back 2 years to when government forces in the southern Philippines launched an offensive against rebel fighters. The violence escalated in one of Asia's most Catholic nations. The Philippines declared a national day of mourning after 44 police commanders were killed, causing the operation to fail. We then cut to the Punjab region in northern Lahore, Pakistan. News reports announced that Philippine authorities have confirmed the bombing death toll has reached 146 killed and 231 injured, the largest terrorist attack in Asia, particularly in Manila, with no organization claiming responsibility. Western intelligence agencies, however, detect traces of specific chemicals, the hallmark of the notorious arms dealer Amir al-Barkawi. His motive is to sow discord in regional capitals to ensure his business grows. We then see Amir in his palace. His son Kamran arrives from a difficult mission, successful but costly. He informs his father that most of their operatives have been exposed. He also reports that one of his Afghan men discovered a German intelligence agent within their group and uncovered betrayal by a high-ranking general whom he decided to kill. Amir orders him to eliminate the general's entire family to maximize the punishment. The next day, during his daughter's wedding celebration, a man slips out of a tent and sends Amir al-Barkawi's location to Creech Air Force Base in Nevada. British intelligence authorizes a strike on the location, and the site is bombed. 2 years later, U.S. President Benjamin Asher is jogging with his lead Secret Service agent, Mike Banning. Their relationship is friendly. Mike's wife, Leah, is pregnant, so he is about to take a 2-week leave. He returns home to give her the news, and they discuss the nursery for their son. Mike had installed 6 cameras in the room, which Leah disliked, insisting one was enough. The next day, President Asher receives an important call informing him that British Prime Minister James Wilson has died. Mike learns the news from television. In London, Foreign Secretary Rose Kenter meets with all UK security agencies, Rapid Intervention, Royal Protection, and Intelligence. She informs them the royal family has scheduled the funeral for 9 a.m. on Thursday at St. Paul's Cathedral. Every world leader will attend except the Russian president. Back with Mike, his wife answers a call from the White House. In London, we learn 9 foreign requests to provide security for the funeral have been rejected. The UK insists it can protect its guests. In Washington, Mike meets with Lynn, the president's advisor. She and others warn him the situation is too dangerous and advise the president not to go. The president tries to reassure them, noting over 28 heads of state will be present and security will be intense. He ultimately decides to attend. As Mike leaves, he encounters Vice President Trumbull, who cut his vacation short because the president is traveling. Mike returns home to say goodbye to his wife, telling her he'll be in England for exactly 2 days and then will resume his leave. She is upset as their son is due in 2 weeks, but ultimately tells him she'll stay with her mother and prepare the nursery until he returns safely. On the day of the funeral, England is surprised when the American president arrives at 2:15 p.m. When MI6 agent John Lancaster asks Mike why, he explains that for security reasons, no one, not even the host country, should know the exact arrival time. We go to St. Paul's Cathedral, surrounded by unprecedented security. British media describes it as the most heavily secured event in the world. The president's plane lands at the dedicated and secure Samworth House landing pad. Buckingham Palace, where leaders are to gather, is also on maximum alert, with royal guards moving fluidly outside. We see German Chancellor Agnes Brackner standing outside the palace. A young girl gives her a white rose and walks away. Canadian Prime Minister Robert Bowman is en route through the city. Japanese Prime Minister Tsutomu Nakashima is on Chelsea Bridge. Italian Prime Minister Antonio Gosto stands above Westminster Abbey with Italy's ambassador to the UK. French Prime Minister Jacques Monaro waits in a boat, telling guards to delay for 10 minutes. President Asher arrives at the palace and is greeted by the new British Prime Minister, Clarkson, who thanks him for coming. Meanwhile, a police inspection officer confirms the Canadian Prime Minister's car is clean, but is seen secretly planting a bomb on it. The car enters the palace grounds and explodes, killing the Canadian PM. Later, the Royal Honor Guards reveal themselves to be imposters, opening fire on everyone. Even police officers guarding the palace begin shooting at those around them. Mike tries to rush the president into the palace, but it is hit with grenades. He retreats to the motorcade amid heavy gunfire from all sides. Mike begins eliminating anyone who approaches the vehicle and calls for the second presidential limousine as the first is destroyed. On Chelsea Bridge, an unidentified man detonates a truck full of explosives, killing hundreds of civilians along with the Japanese PM. The Italian PM is targeted, and the upper section of the abbey is destroyed. The French PM's boat is attacked by an armed vessel and blown up. British intelligence urgently contacts the head of counterterrorism and rapid support to save the remaining world leaders, especially the American president. Agent Voight arrives with the backup limousine at high speed. The president and Lynn get in, but a second agent, Bronson, is killed. Mike takes his place, and they speed away. One of the imposter officers radios the description and direction of the escape vehicle to his team. A chase ensues with British police cars and armed motorcycles. A bullet penetrates the windshield, killing Voight. Mike quickly takes the wheel, has Lynn steer while he opens the door and shoots a pursuing motorcyclist. They reach the heliport safely and take off before another attack can be launched. London is left in chaos with deaths everywhere. The Prime Minister's funeral is ruined and several iconic landmarks are damaged. 5 world leaders and numerous civilians are declared dead. The news reaches U.S. intelligence and Vice President Trumbull, who orders the nearest U.S. forces to move toward the president. We cut to Yemen, where Amir al-Barkawi, who survived the assassination attempt 2 years prior, is speaking with a man named Sultan. He says Clarkson and Asher are still alive, but the others are dead. He orders them to begin Phase 2. Sultan takes control of London's power grid and plunges the city into a blackout, even affecting British intelligence headquarters. A series of explosions rock different parts of the city. Aboard the president's helicopter, Lynn is distraught, questioning how such a long-planned attack went undetected. Suddenly, missiles are detected heading toward them. The escort helicopters begin defensive maneuvers. Mike sees individuals with rocket launchers on rooftops across London. One helicopter is destroyed. Missiles continue to target them until the helicopters run out of countermeasures. Helicopter 2 positions itself to take a hit meant for the president's aircraft and is destroyed. A final missile locks on. Mike tells the president to brace himself. The helicopter is struck, but deploys an emergency crash protection system. The aircraft crashes but lands relatively intact. Mike checks on the president, but Lynn is critically injured. With her dying words, she tells Mike to leave her, protect the president, and make those responsible pay. Mike and the president escape, hearing approaching motorcycles. They flee on foot before being seen. In Washington, a video from Amir al-Barkawi is broadcast. He claims the attacks are retaliation for the operation against his family 2 years ago, accuses the West of cowardice for killing innocents with long-range missiles, and declares that from today, the world will change. Trumbull is informed the video is spreading across all media. He labels al-Barkawi one of the most dangerous men in the Middle East. They are shocked when al-Barkawi calls the White House directly. He tells them not to bother tracing the encrypted call. He states he did not start this war. They did by killing his family. When Trumbull accuses him of selling weapons to their enemies, al-Barkawi retorts that it's just business, like they do. He offers one solution to stop the carnage: hand over the president. Trumbull refuses. Al-Barkawi says every death from now on is on their hands and disconnects. Meanwhile, Mike ambushes a policeman, disarms him, and explains to the president that after today, every cop is a potential terrorist until proven otherwise. He takes the officer's weapon, ammo, and grenades. He tells the president he knows of a secure MI6 safe house, but warns him to trust no one but Mike. They break into a subway entrance. Mike hears someone following and tells the president to stay put. He ambushes the pursuers with a grenade and gunfire. Over one man's radio, he hears a call for someone named Raza, who is Amir's other son. Mike grabs the radio, informs the caller Raza can't answer, and tells them to turn back. The caller, Cameron, says they will kill the president regardless. Mike puts the radio next to the wounded man, stabs him so Cameron hears his brother die, and tells Cameron they are waiting for him next. At the White House, Trumbull states the British are compromised and all communication with them is likely monitored. The National Security Advisor notes Mike was holding his weapon left-handed, though he is right-handed. They realize this is a coded signal to U.S. forces indicating a specific location, a nearby CIA safe house, and order a team to move there. In the tunnel, President Asher tells Mike that if capture is imminent, Mike must kill him to avoid being taken hostage and executed on video. He states this is an order. A major revelation comes from John, a senior British intelligence director, who informs Trumbull that PM James Wilson was assassinated. An autopsy revealed he was poisoned days before the operation. The surgeon who performed his recent operation was also found dead. This means the entire funeral was a trap. Preliminary reports state terrorists killed 19 rapid response members, with 30 more missing. They have infiltrated and impersonated a significant number of police and army officers, making friend identification impossible. Trumbull orders all police to withdraw from the streets. Anyone remaining is to be considered a terrorist. Civilians are told to stay indoors. The military will sweep the city and shoot any suspects on sight. Mike and the president reach the MI6 safe house. They are met by Agent Jacqueline. Mike vouches for her as one of MI6's best. She briefs them, confirming Amir al-Barkawi is behind everything. The president explains Western nations agreed to strike Amir during his daughter's wedding, but he survived and now seeks revenge. Mike insists there must be a mole within England, helping them breach all systems. A message from Trumbull arrives. They decoded Mike's signal and are sending a Delta Force team to extract them to the U.S. Embassy, where an armored vehicle will take them to a military plane. After 30 minutes of relative calm, a team is detected approaching the safe house. Mike notices they aren't sweating despite heavy gear and realizes it's a trap. They arm themselves. Jacqueline says there's an armored car in the basement for escape. They hide the president in an office, with Mike instructing him to shoot anyone but Mike who opens the door. Mike sets traps and kills 2 attackers with a knife, but is pinned down by gunfire. He makes it back to the office, disarms an attacker, and kills him. Another attacker is about to shoot Mike when the president emerges from a closet and shoots him first. The president jokes he'd been waiting an hour for Mike to let him out. They rush to the basement, get in the armored car, and Mike has the president drive so he can shoot. The president is a terrible driver, having not driven in 6 years. They head for the embassy, knowing it's risky. They drive into an ambush on a mined street, but manage to get through. Another vehicle T-bones them, flipping their car. Dazed, Mike sees the president being kidnapped, but manages to grab one attacker as rapid response forces arrive. Mike interrogates the man with a knife, who reveals the location, the Broadwick Street, Lexington area. Jacqueline goes to the Intelligence Control Center and tells Director Hazard there is a traitor. She works to find the internal security breach, succeeds, and they locate the terrorist cell. We see Captain Will Davis of the SAS's 22nd Regiment refusing to take Mike on the assault. Mike insists he's going regardless. They have only minutes before the president is executed live. The president is brought before Cameron, who beats him out of rage for his brother's death and prepares him for execution. Cameron tells him he will be the first U.S. president executed live on air. Mike decides to move early due to the time pressure. He tells Davis he will reach the building and begin the assault. To avoid getting the president killed in crossfire, Mike devises a plan. He will plant explosives and give Davis a trigger. He tells Davis to have intelligence cut the building's power on his signal. Mike scales the building, dons night vision goggles, plants explosives, and silently eliminates guards with a knife. Cameron orders backup generators on. The lights come back, and Mike is spotted. A firefight ensues. Mike kills the guards but is grazed by a bullet. At 8 p.m., the live broadcast of the execution begins, shocking the world, especially America. The president remains defiant, stating he protected the United States and will do so until his last day, even as Cameron beats him. Cameron raises a sword. Mike bursts in, killing the crew and Sultan, the broadcast manager. He runs out of ammo before killing Cameron, and they engage in hand-to-hand combat. As Mike gains the upper hand, the dying Sultan pulls a grenade. The president shouts a warning, forcing Mike to disengage and escape with the president. They emerge armed but low on ammo and are surrounded by Cameron and his men. Mike radios Davis and orders him to detonate the gas mains he rigged. Davis hesitates, fearing it will kill them too, but complies. Mike pulls the president down to the lowest sublevel as the building explodes. When SAS forces enter, they find no sign of the president until they locate them in the deepest part of the rubble, alive. Mike tells Davis, "Next time I say detonate, listen the first time." We then see John, the senior MI6 director, revealed as the traitor. Jacqueline confronts him before he can flee, having discovered he failed to log out of the main system. When she orders him to the ground, he reaches for a gun in his car, and she is forced to shoot him. Mike gives Cameron's phone to the team so they can trace Amir al-Barkawi. We cut to Amir, who receives a call from the White House. He declares the war is not over. It has just begun, and he won't stop until he kills them all. Trumbull tells him to look out his window. Amir sees a missile inbound. The White House confirms no civilians are in the blast area. The missile strikes, killing Amir al-Barkawi and his men. 2 weeks later, Mike is home with his wife and newborn son, Mike Jr. He decides to resign, but while writing his letter, here's a televised address from President Trumbull, praising all who protected the president and calling their actions unparalleled national service. Mike decides to stay, crumpling up the resignation letter. And with that, this movie comes to an end. If you enjoyed the recap, support the channel with a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for the next movie.